It sat unsolved for nearly 30 years. A small-town teenager, vanishing on her walk home from school. No witnesses, no suspects, just a backpack found in a ditch and a family left shattered. For decades, the name Emily Carter haunted the community of Brooksville. Parents warned their children never to walk alone. Generations grew up remembering the missing girl who never came home. But what no one knew was that the killer wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows. He was someone Emily saw almost every day. And it would take 3 decades, new DNA technology, and one unexpected confession to finally reveal the truth. On April 3, 1992, 16-year-old Emily Carter left school around 3:15 p.m. She lived less than a mile away. Friends said she walked that path nearly every day. But on that Friday afternoon, she never made it home. Her backpack was discovered 2 days later, tossed into a drainage ditch. Inside were her textbooks and a half-finished homework assignment. For investigators, it was a chilling sign. Emily hadn't run away. Something terrible had happened. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood, knocking on doors, questioning classmates. Rumors swirled: an older boyfriend, a stranger in a van, even runaway theories. But nothing stuck. With no physical evidence, the case went cold. Over the years, tips trickled in. A psychic claimed Emily was buried near water. A man in prison boasted he knew what happened, but his story didn't match the facts. By the late 90s, Emily's case was buried under dozens of other unsolved files. Fast forward to 2020. Advances in forensic genealogy had begun solving cases once thought impossible. Detectives revisited Emily's file, pulling a piece of evidence long stored in the archives: her backpack. On the strap was a faint trace of touch DNA, too small to test in the 90s, but now enough to analyze. The results were shocking. The DNA matched a man who had lived just blocks away from Emily at the time of her disappearance, Thomas Reed, a former substitute teacher at her high school. Reed had never been questioned back in 1992. He was known as a quiet, respected man who often volunteered at school events. But after he moved out of Brooksville in 1995, his life unraveled. He'd been arrested multiple times for minor assaults and was living under the radar when investigators tracked him down. When confronted with the DNA evidence, Reed denied knowing Emily. But investigators had more. Phone records, yearbook photos, and witness testimony revealed he had crossed paths with her several times. The pressure mounted, and then, the unthinkable happened. In a recorded interview, Reed broke down. He admitted he had followed Emily that day, offering her a ride. When she refused, he panicked, grabbed her, and forced her into his car. The situation spiraled. He confessed to killing her within hours and burying her in a wooded area just outside of town. Guided by Reed's statement, search teams recovered Emily's remains, nearly 30 years later. In 2021, Thomas Reed pled guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison, effectively ensuring he would die behind bars. For Emily's family, it was bittersweet justice. They finally had answers. They finally knew where she was. And most importantly, the man who stole her future was no longer free. The case of Emily Carter became a turning point in Brooksville. It showed how modern technology could breathe new life into forgotten files, and how persistence could eventually uncover the darkest secrets. Her story is a reminder: killers may think they've escaped justice. But time, and science, has a way of catching up. So remember this: every unsolved case has a trail waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes, even after decades of silence, the truth finds a way to speak. Emily Carter's case proves one haunting fact: justice may be delayed, but it is never truly gone.